Good afternoon, Year 5. Welcome to this week's Humanities lesson. We have lots of shout outs this week, so let's get going. So I want to say a big thank you to all of the children that have sent in some fantastic work. Your pictures, your videos of your experiment were excellent. So well done. Thank you so much. And I really enjoyed reading your work and looking at your pictures and videos. So this week, I'd like to say a big shout out to Race, Eric, Evelina, Dua, Raisa, Anushant, Sana, Jacob, Jaden, first time in my shout outs, boys. Shyster, Kaddish, Grace, Munir, Anastasia, Jalal, Jackie, and Nikki. First time in my shout outs. Let's make it lots more. Well done. So let's see what equipment we need this week. So in front of you, you should have your writing book to write in, a ruler to underline the date and the ally, your pen for writing, and some colouring pencils. You may need these later on. So today is Monday the 29th of June 2020, and your learning intention is to explain the history of the South and describe the diversity of the South. Okay, are we ready and sitting comfortably? So let's continue our journey around America. So we are going to the South today. So we've left Washington, D.C., and you can see on the map on the left whereabouts we are. It's highlighted. So the South is a large region with interesting cultural diversity as well as striking physical geographical features. Across the landscape there are mountains, rivers, valleys and sandy beaches. The 12 states that make up the South are Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. You might want to take some notes, so stop the video and write yourself some notes down. But don't worry if you don't, because you can always go back later on. So we have a little bit of vocab here. So geographical features are the different kinds of landforms, waterways, or physical characteristics in a region. Oops. South America has an area of 17,840,000 kilometers square and a population of 388 million people. It is the fourth largest continent on Earth. The climate in the south is quite different from the northern states. So it's much hotter, especially in the summer. The difference in climate means that southern farmers grow different crops from those grown on the northern farms. In the 1800s, the two most important crops for southern farmers were cotton and tobacco. These crops had to be picked by hand. This was terribly hard work that few people wanted to do. So the southern planters had people brought over from Africa to work on the farms, but these people did not come willingly. They were victims of the slave trade that flourished at this time. So enslaved workers were used to grow cotton, tobacco, and other crops in the South. In the northern states especially, many people disapproved of slavery. For this and other reasons, there were conflict between the North and the South. 11 southern states decided to form their own country and left the United States. This conflict resulted in the Civil War, which lasted from 1861 to 1865. The Civil War ended with the defeat of the South. The southern states came back into the Union and slavery was abolished. That means stopped. Though many African Americans moved from the South to other parts of the country in the decades after the Civil War, they still had a significant influence on Southern culture, especially on Southern art, literature, music, dance, and food. You can see some nice little pictures there. So let's go south and west to a mountainous area shared by the states of West Virginia, Virginia, and North Carolina. The scenery here is very wild. The mountains are part of the Great Appalachian Mountains, which reach all the way to New England. In the south, the Appalachians are known by different names. In Virginia, they are called the Blue Ridge Mountains, and in North Carolina and Tennessee, the Great Smoky Mountains. If you look at the picture on the left, sometimes there is a blue haze above the Great Smoky Mountains. Do you think that's why they're called the Great Smoky Mountains? The national park was a place the government had set aside so that people could come and enjoy nature. This was only one of a dozen national parks. Why are the mountains here called Smoky? It is because of the blue hazy fog on the tops, which we've just talked about. Native Americans named them the place of the blue smoke. You can spend several peaceful hours walking through the woods that cover the hills. So underneath we've got some vocabulary. The national park, it's a noun and it's a piece of land that is protected by the federal government because of its natural beauty or historical importance. So now we're off to enjoy the southern coast. Northward along the east coast, the coasts of Virginia, North Carolina and South Carolina are covered with sandy beaches. So you can enjoy walking in the fresh sea air and observing the behaviour of the people on the beach. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? Some of the most famous beaches on the east coast are farther south in the state of Florida. So this state is a long peninsula. It juts out between two bodies of water, the Atlantic Ocean on the east and the Gulf of Mexico on the west. Florida is often warmer than the rest of the South. In fact, it stays warm all year round in some parts of the state. Because of the warm weather, people in Florida can grow fruits that cannot be grown in the north, such as oranges. One reason people go to the beaches in Florida and other southern states is because the water is warm, making it ideal for swimming. The water is warm partly because of a stream of warm water that flows through the Gulf of Mexico and up the east coast. It is called the Gulf Stream. So on the top picture on the left, you can see where the Gulf Stream flows, and underneath there's some lovely beaches. So we have some more vocabulary for you. Peninsula, a piece of land sticking out into a body of water so that it is almost surrounded by water. And Gulf Stream, a warm ocean current that begins in the Gulf of Mexico and travels north along the coast from Florida all the way to Newfoundland. Miami is one of Florida's most famous cities. Many people come to Miami to visit the nearby beaches. But Miami is much more than just beaches. It is also a big, modern city with a diverse population. The Caribbean is the sea off Florida's southern coast. And on the streets of Miami, a lot of people spoke Spanish, the language of Cuba. As you head north, it's time to visit the states of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas, if I've said that correctly. In Kentucky, horses are raised to run in races. The most famous horse race in America is called the Kentucky Derby. In Tennessee are Nashville and Memphis, two cities famous for music. In Nashville, musicians play what is called country music. In Memphis, you can hear a form of music called the blues.
Please, darling, do me a favor. Keep our business to yourself. You know I don't want you to tell nobody. Don't mention to no one else. Don't tell your mother. Don't tell your father. Don't tell your sister. And don't mention to your brother, please, darling. You just keep it all to yourself. I don't want you to tell nobody. And don't mention to no one else.
I hope you enjoyed that little piece of blues music. I certainly did. Let's go south again. So we are going to head towards the deep south, and we will be reaching the state of Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. And these are part of what some people call the deep south. So you can see on the map on the left. In Georgia, you can visit peach orchards near Atlanta, Georgia's capital city. So Atlanta is Georgia's capital city. Atlanta was burned down during the Civil War and then rebuilt. Today, it is the most important business center in the South. And the last southern city we're going to visit is New Orleans in the state of Louisiana. There is a lovely part of town called the French Quarter, which is full of beautiful old houses. You can see from the pictures, they look absolutely fabulous. Pretty little fences made of black iron surround the houses, and their balconies are covered with potted flowers, just like Memphis and Nashville. So off we go. We are in New Orleans now. So New Orleans is famous for music, especially jazz. When you walk around, so much music is coming out of the buildings that it makes you want to dance in the streets. In fact, New Orleans is known for a once-a-year party where people do dance in the streets. It is called the Mardi Gras. New Orleans is located on the longest river in the United States. Can you remember what that's called? Yes, the Mississippi. This broad brown river runs all the way from the state of Minnesota in the northern United States down to the Gulf of Mexico. It is the most important river in the United States for transporting goods by boat. So you can see a picture of the river there on the left. Okay, now we come on to our task. Your task today is a little bit different. We're going to be doing some retrieval questions. So what I would like you to do is, on the screen, you'll see a selection of different questions from the video. I'd like you to answer as many as you can, please, in your best handwriting. Remember, capital letters, full stops, full sentences, and good luck. Okay, so these are the answers to your questions. Try not to peek before you've had a go. And when you've finished everything, I'd like you to send your completed answers to year5@grange.harrow.school.uk. Remember to put for Mrs. Hubbard. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I really enjoy learning about America, and I hope you do too. So, well done everybody, and I'll see you next week.